That's the expression on certain Star Wars fans' faces right now. Welcome back to Big Mouth. And Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill will return for Star Wars Episode 9. Now, everyone's so shocked about this, but the truth of the matter is there should be no shock. There should be no surprise. Rian Johnson mistakenly didn't finish Princess Leia's story, which he should have done. Now, people say it's a trilogy and her story should end in the third film. But unfortunately, tragically, Carrie Fisher is no longer with us. So at the end of the day, her story should have just been ended. Look, I don't care if she got in a little spaceship, a little X-Wing, and just decided to explore the universe or whatever. They didn't have to kill her off. In fact, I wouldn't have killed her off. I would have just gave her a happy ending or something, and she could have, lived, forever in the Star Wars universe without us seeing her again. But she's going to be back. She's going to be back, and they're going to use footage from The Force Awakens. So how Luke Skywalker comes back, we don't know. We assume he's going to be a Force ghost. We assume he's dead. But knowing J.J. Abrams, and I kind of know quite a bit about J.J., and I think you could be surprised. Luke Skywalker could still be alive. He may not be dead. Yeah, I know that's a controversial thing to say, but it wouldn't surprise me. Now, what are the excitement levels, I'm wondering, for Episode 9? Were not that great. Disney and Lucasfilm killed one of the most valuable franchises, if not the most valuable franchise in Hollywood history. How did they do it? They had a plan. The plan was to make us not be particularly interested in the Skywalker saga, so they could just get it out the way, make a couple of billion each movie, and then give us their new original characters. We would embrace those characters. We would buy the toys. We would buy the other stuff. Everyone's happy. Thank you very much. But that's not what happened. What actually happened is that we don't like their new characters. We're not buying these toys. We're not buying the merchandise. We're still only buying the merchandise for the classic Star Wars. And this is a problem to them because after Episode 9, no doubt, there will be no Skywalker saga anymore. And it's going to be all about what the Game of Thrones lads are going to do. I don't think Rian Johnson's trilogy will see the light of day. If it does, it's insane. I mean, unless he does it and actually he does a good job, which would shock everyone, wouldn't it? But who knows in this industry? Can they turn it around? Of course they can. Can Star Wars be saved? It needs to be saved in Episode 9. Let me stress to you that the Solo box office cannot be defended. It cannot be defended. Whether it's because people boycotted, which the pundits and the Disney shills deny, or that people just didn't go because they didn't want to see another actor playing Han Solo. It doesn't matter why it happened. It happened. A Star Wars film is a flop, not under George Lucas's banner, but under Disney's banner. We know yesterday that them and Fox agreed to buy 20th Century Fox, and everyone's jumping up and down. But I'd be quite concerned right now. Some of the noises coming from Kevin Feige right now are very interesting as well. But this is not what this video is about. But what I'm saying is that Disney have done very well since the first Avengers movie on that kind of reputation of making an optimistic, exciting, funny kind of blockbuster. And I think now it's starting to get to a situation where people are thinking, well, you're just talking about identity politics a bit too much now. You're not focusing on the actual franchises or the films. So what happens to Star Wars? How can you come to a film that didn't even, or that barely made 500 million globally, to Episode 9? Now, obviously, the saga, the kind of the Skywalker saga has done quite well. Force Awakens 2 billion, The Last Jedi about $1 billion. But at the end of the day, this will be very interesting. Not only how much money it makes, because I'm not one of these people who's that interested in the money. I'm interested in the quality of the films. One of the problems is with us people who watch the films, we listen to the pundits about box office. We're too focused about box office because we're in competition with other franchises. If you're a DC fan or a Marvel fan, you're kind of in competition with each other and you want to heckle each other when your franchise is done better than theirs. If you're a DC fan like me, you've had that a lot. I think this is a time where we can't focus on box office. If we get a great Star Wars movie, we should just be happy. But will we get a great Star Wars movie? This is the question then. How do you finish off a trilogy of a saga that just hasn't worked? It just hasn't worked. How do you finish this thing off? I don't even know how you do it. I don't know how you take the mess that Rian Johnson left behind, and it doesn't matter that people like Scott Mandelson are coming out and saying that it's the best film since The Empire Strikes Back. This is deluded thinking. This is thinking of people who are sniffing something or you're snorting something very strong. The Last Jedi was not a good movie. Even if you take away the identity politics and the forced and contrived storytelling, excuse me, but even Rian Johnson is even killing my throat. But the point is, I don't see what you can do with this trilogy. Maybe you can actually save Star Wars as a franchise down the line. But what can you do to save this trilogy? I don't know. They've killed it. They've killed it dead. And, it's no accident that there was big outrage to The Last Jedi. No accident at all. Everyone can't be wrong. Okay, 10% of the audience may have liked it. But there was certainly no rewatch factor. Otherwise, it would have made the 2 billion plus that The Force Awakens did. My theory is with Star Wars is this. It's very hard to continue it. And I think this is why George Lucas only made 3 movies originally. Because I think he realises that this franchise can only go round in circles. What do you do? There's the dark side, there's the good side, there's a fight, there's a saber fight. What else do you do? And in the end, people can see that. Well, the only way you can make this an interesting franchise is if you actually take it and do something new with it. Now, people claim that Rian Johnson did that. He didn't. He tried to do some things that shocked the audience, but the things he used to shock the audience with were I suppose it's like at Christmas when there's this big box, you unwrap it, you open the box, and it's a pair of your granddad's socks. That's what I would say with the kind of twists and turns you see in The Last Jedi. Killing off Snoke was exactly what I'm talking about. Nobody wanted that. Nobody wanted Snoke to die. Nobody wanted Rey not to have an important legacy and an important past to explain how she's so amazing and so powerful. And people did need an explanation there. I suppose we are a generation who need everything explained to us, but also there's got to be reasons why this girl is so good and so powerful. They could have given her a really strong lineage through the Star Wars saga. But they decided, because they're obsessed with identity politics, to say she's strong. She's a woman and she can be strong and there doesn't need to be an explanation. Well, it doesn't matter if you're man, woman or beast. I want to know. We know Superman's strong because he's from the planet Krypton. And when he's on Earth, and because of the sun, he gets strong. And that's how we know. It's like with every superhero, whether it's a man or a woman. We know how they get their strength and why they're what they are. But with Rey, there's never been any explanation. And it doesn't make sense to anyone. I'm convinced that J.J. Abrams would have explained it. But for some reason, Rian Johnson didn't want to. He just wanted to say, everyone's special, and that's that. That's what he did with, that kid at the end of The Last Jedi. Everyone can use the Force. You don't have to be the chosen one. You don't have to be special. Well, if you don't have to be the chosen one and you don't have to be special, then what's the point? That was the point of watching Anakin's story. That was the point of watching Luke's story. They were the chosen ones. It was interesting. It was a journey. If anyone could become a Jedi, why does that interest me? Why is that fun to me? The truth is, It's not. We'll talk later. And keep the mouth big.